Who is going to succeed Jon Stewart at The Daily Show? Well, one person has taken her name out of the running, Jessica Williams. A lot of fans of The Daily Show are also big fans of one of their correspondents, Jessica Williams. She is a young woman, African-American comedian who has really had some fantastic bits and segments on The Daily Show for a while now, has a popular following, and many people started tweeting, commenting, suggesting that she should succeed Jon Stewart. And she certainly thought all that was complimentary, but she has announced that she's not applying for the job, doesn't want the job, considers herself underqualified, not experienced enough. Now, this caused a number of commentators to question her decision, to offer mild criticism, and this created more backlash on her part, essentially saying, who in the heck are you to tell me what to do and criticize me? There's something condescending about that. I don't want to weigh in on the particulars here, but I do feel an obligation to talk about the issue of diversity in the media, because it is an issue I've dealt with for 25 years. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Now, Jessica Williams is a young black woman. She is, I guess, about 25 years old. She's saying she's not experienced enough. On the one hand, you can say, isn't it great that someone has a sense of self-awareness and a sense of limitations and a sense of not being entitled? On the other hand, you do hear constant criticism from a lot of different places that the media is racist and that white men have a huge, huge advantage in the media compared to everyone else. I mean, look at all the network news anchors since television has begun. And other than Connie Chung briefly, and Diane Sawyer and Katie Couric briefly, and now Lester Holt temporarily, and Max Robinson for a brief time, everyone else has been a white man. Why is that? I do have a theory, being a white man myself. Here's the theory. When a white man is given an opportunity, and it's a great opportunity, it never really occurs to us to say, we're not qualified, we don't have enough experience. You can mock me if you want, but that is my perception, and over time, that helps us. If you always say yes to every single opportunity, if it turns out well, things are great. I mean, look at Conan O'Brien. He never hosted a show. Nobody knew who Conan O'Brien was. And he got to host The Tonight Show for years. Now, it didn't work out perfectly, but he's still rich, he's still famous, he still gets to host an all-night or a late-night talk show. It has worked out fabulously for him. And he didn't have any experience hosting shows or being on TV, and he took a much bigger franchise than The Daily Show. Also, look at Ronan Farrow. Now, Ronan Farrow was just fired from MSNBC, but at roughly the same age as Jessica Williams, he was given his own show to talk about not just comedy matters, but the most serious, hardcore political news stories in the world. And he didn't have a day's experience of that. And he said, sure. It didn't work out for him. Guess what? He's still going to be rich and famous and successful and prominent for the rest of his life. It's not going to hurt his career at all, the fact that he hosted a show at 25, 26. You know who else hosted a show at age 25? Peter Jennings. Now, people forget this, but Peter Jennings actually anchored the national ABC network news briefly when he was 25 years old. Now, he came back much, much later, I believe in his late 30s, when he had a lot more seasoning. And not to sound pompous and like I'm conflating those great people with my meager accomplishments, but when I was 25, 26, I took it upon myself to host a syndicated political talk show throughout 10 markets in Florida at a time when, doing commentary analysis was something that only guys, and it was guys, in their 50s were seen as capable of doing. I didn't wait for someone to say I was qualified. I just decided I wanted to do it. So I'm not here to give Jessica Williams career advice. I'm simply here to point out that one of the reasons, and you can say there's institutional racism, I don't doubt that, but one of the reasons that white men do so well is when they're given an opportunity, they don't ever second guess themselves and say, maybe I'm not qualified or maybe I'm too inexperienced. We just say yes. We show up and we do it. If it doesn't work out, if it failed, hey, my TV show failed. It didn't seem to hurt me. If you fail, there's no shame in failing. So please keep that. The other reason I bring this up is when I had political talk shows, I would have to work and work and work and make call after call after call to ever get a female pundit to give opinions on the news. And this was in the late 80s, early 90s. And I could call a male who's been on the job as a reporter for 2 weeks. He'd be happy to show up. I call a female reporter who'd been on the beat for 15 years, and she would say, well, I'm not sure I'm qualified, or I'm not sure I have the stature to do that. You could certainly make the case that there's all sorts of other societal forces keeping women down. Not disputing that at all. I simply want to point out, in my own experience as a white man who's done a lot in the media, that one of the big advantages white men have is just saying yes, not being bogged down with second guessing and doubts and wondering if you're experienced enough or credentialed enough. So to the extent that any of you want advice, that's my advice. You have an opportunity, take it.